Hello and welcome to the Brown Q Part 3, where we're going over more of the obvious, this time in regards to astroturfs such as Antifa, funded by George Soros and likely China and Ali Dwintalals kind of folks, and anyone else who likes anarcho-communism in the US and or in general, because, China loves that stuff. Anyway, the last 4 years have just been a preview, or just a series of previews for everything that's about to drop, and it's about to go haywire, and your ballots are your tickets. So it's a pick your own adventure, and which series do we want to see? Which movie set? What are we gonna go for? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all knew this was coming. Like, it's even before Bernie dropped out, we knew that the children of the soy were going to rage against the trash cans and windows and corporate businesses like they always do. It's just a repeat of last election, and they can't meme because they can't come up with their own ideas. They can't come up with anything new. They just repeat, recycle. It's why whenever they run out of ideas, they always go back to Trump's taxes. Know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I'm not sure what they think is going to go differently. Trump is still going to win. They can't, I mean, once he does, they can't hide behind Trump running and claiming he's personally invested, and it's not justice. I mean, the Dems only care about black people every 4 years, and it's nothing but kind of paid for white people at this point. But, I mean, January 3rd, folks start getting sworn in, so you got from like 11/3 to 1/3, and then, I mean, all hell is going to break loose in between that time when it gets cold, when winter sets in. Because I mean they will have no ability to try to protect anyone after that, so they got to do what they can to try to forcibly undo the 2020 election. Like that's what they're planning on. That's what they're planning for, because they know they're fucked. They do. They really do. I mean, it's got to get hot to make the revolution real. So anyway, you got like all these like BLM types, and they're anti-gay pride parades and people participating in Antifa and Redneck Revolt, and folks like Bob Brigade trained in Turkey and Syria and tequila, and the Black Bloc anarchists are the same ones who shut down Seattle in the 90s, and the John Brown Gun Club with that like Elizabeth Warren supporter who like murdered his sister in the club while everyone was shooting up the Walmarts. You remember that? You remember that? You remember that? So, I mean, it's all hooks to catch on to later, like Charlottesville and that guy who drove into the crowd in Seattle and shot someone who was trying to take his gun, and then he turned himself into the cops because reasons? I mean, what was the plan for what was going on anyway? And everyone initially claimed he was a white supremacist when he is Hispanic. I mean, it's just odd that he ran to the police line, And then there's the truckers, with like the Rodney King throwbacks. And then also, this all just reminds me of Mike Pompeo listing, like telling all the governors about the mayors and other governors who are on list of friendlies to China. Like, are these the ones stopping the law enforcement? I mean, like, who alongside others is likely funding this? I mean, also, spinning the protesters seem like Hong Kong. Compare the China to U.S. and the Gilets Jaunes, and, like, all the good people are protesting. So, like, yeah, I gotta stop whatever you're doing. It's just nonsense and word and mind games. I mean, but don't forget you have, like, the Muslim crowd where Sharia law is above national law, and then MS-13, Hispanics, Latinos, DACA, which is never resolved. Like, they're just powder keg all over the world right now. Don't forget China, all over the world right now. It's the same old tired race war, one after another, and all cops, they're bastards. Don't forget the classic skinhead line. We got to disband them all so we can run everything like Burning Man, but, Chaz can't last more than a week or two because no one at Burning Man can really stand each other. It was all coordinated, all the same people, all the same signs, I mean, good people on all sides wanting stuff to suck less. Don't get me wrong. Don't loot, don't riot. But bad people give good people a terrible name. I mean, sure, cops could suck less, revenue could be less focused on intake via like things like tickets, and no longer about. But I mean, it's no longer about trying to terrorize people into voting a certain way. Now it's do or die. This is not a game. This is a war. Now they're terrorists. Ends don't justify the means. I mean, all the demands are Green New Deal nonsense, and you can protest, but you can't go to church, so now going to church is a protest, right? Sure, let's do that. Loving God is the protest. It's the most courageous thing I can do. I mean, now Antifa really are the counter-protesters, but really this is all just trying to mask that Hillary has to testify in September, which means she's going to announce in August, so that all the people who are bummed out about Bernie dropping and having to vote for Biden because anyone but Trump, I mean, it's just going to, quote-unquote, motivate them to vote, just like all this mayhem and all that jazz. But you know what? Honestly, that's a Q of a different color. And I'll see you there.